welcome back to AFL Rewind, arenafan.com's look at all things arena football. I'm your host, Tim Capper, and welcome me back, and obviously with my co-host, John Stark. Welcome back, buddy. It's, God, you were never a co-host under the AFL Rewind banner, were you? Or was it the very first episode that we did of the historical series? Was that what it was? I think because it was with one of our guests tonight, I think, Sed Bonner.
Yeah, I think it was the historical series. The original Rewind, though, no, no.
Yeah, because we had rebranded after we decided to put AFL Tonight to bed, so to speak, and whatnot. So we're glad everybody's here. Please chime in tonight. Very first live episode of AFL Rewind. I'm sure it's going to be fun because, dude, through your help and through the technology that we have today, we got two great scheduled guests, don't we?
We certainly do. It's an exciting way to kick off the season with this preseason show.
Yeah, and it is the goat, one of the goats, QB1 himself, Sed Bonner, and who's currently with the Billings Outlaws. It's funny to say, Coach Sed Bonner. Coach Sed Bonner. He hasn't been a coach since 2011, dude.
Wow, that is quite some time. Yeah, I was actually scrolling through the Billings Outlaws social media and caught some photos of him in just, sweats and a baseball cap, and I was like, whoa, I haven't seen him dressed like that in years.
Yeah, usually when we see him, it's usually on TV. Him and Ari Wolf are usually doing broadcasts for whether it had been the Arena Football League or whether it was for something else, because that was their thing, man. They were, you know,
The dynamic
I
duo.
know, the dynamic duo. And secondly, if everything works according to plan, we also have a very well-known player too, Brandon Sesay, is going to be coming on. He's currently with the Albany Firebirds, and man, again, two guys who I'm really looking forward to talking about the launch, the relaunch of the league itself, and then we got week one coming up. I know each of them have their own assigned time that we're going to have them in. And by the way, make sure you do chime in. We will try to bring up some of your comments if you are watching us live tonight, or if you're watching this on replay. Can also tell you that this show will be available in audio format. Just wait, as that will be available on any of the podcast providers.
And I'm actually logged into YouTube, so I may be able to respond to comments over text.
Oh, there we go. There we
Yeah.
go. Perfect. Um, let's talk about a few things before Sed comes in. We have a couple of minutes here. Obviously, as we know, the Arena Football League is about to start its 2024 season. It has been and as we've talked about in our other shows, it's been a rough launch. Nothing's been perfect. And I'm one to say that, even though I am been one of the most positive voices for the league itself leading up to this, it really has not been perfect, has it, John?
No, and I expected it to be rocky from the beginning. I would say not a naysayer, but definitely a doubter for things to go according to plan, just based on past experience with how things have gone for the Arena Football League.
Yeah, and obviously, we've had some changes in arenas. We have some teams that finally got an arena, like the Philadelphia Soul. They're going to be playing over the Cure Insurance Arena over in Trenton. You got the quick swap with the whatever you want to call it currently in Louisiana, with them switching from Lake Charles over to Lafayette. At least they got an arena. Okay, I'll be
Hmm.
happy with that. And it wasn't really the best thing, obviously, when you're doing it a week prior to the league starting, but from the pictures that we've seen, and I'll talk about this too, but from the pictures we've seen, everything looks fantastic. All these new turf systems that we've seen, John, that have come out on social media, whether it have been, I said, New Orleans, Minnesota, some of where else to do? I'm trying to think of. I think maybe Nashville too. They're using this this turf square system. I don't know what else to describe it, but it looks good. I never expected them to use this type of system for the turf, but whatever it is, it looks pretty good.
I concur. I can't say anything negative about that.
Yeah. So, um, stuff that has happened this recently, John. Anything that has really stood out to you? I never expected to get another song about arena football that came from the Nashville Cats. I mean, it's shades of the old. God, you have to go back and check. It is on YouTube, and I think it was called Arena Football. I think, if not mistaken, it's just about the league itself. But this one, man, claws out. Where would you rank it when it comes to the turn to your list of uh, fight songs? I don't know what because this really isn't AFL centric. It's more cat centric. But when you heard it, what was your thought?
Truthfully, I find themed team songs like that to be a little corny, but production wise, great, vocals great, definitely impressive. I don't know if I could rank it against other songs. Being a DC sports fan, and the Capitals, Washington Capitals,
Hmm.
NHL, definitely have had some unique themed songs recorded specifically for them. It's just hard to compare, put it up there for me in regards to that. But I would definitely say that I'm not ashamed by it, if
No,
if that's a
no.
if that's a feeling.
No, with the names behind it, I mean the old one and funny it was involved the Nashville Cats too. The owner at the time, Travis Tritt, he helped produce the song too, and also and this is the real deep cut. If any Firebird fans remember this, they had a fight song. Oh wow, they had their own team song back. I think it was in '99. I don't know where that can be found, but if anybody knows where it is currently on the YouTubes or whatnot, let us know because I remember I remember calling in to they played it on a local hotline there in Albany just to listen to the damn song. So
Well,
I was like,
I feel like if anyone could find it, you could find it, being the
no, no,
historian that you are.
no, oh no, I'm surprised I don't have it currently. That's the funny thing about it. So, um, again, we are waiting currently for said Bonner. We're waiting for him to join us here, and hopefully he'll be here within the next couple of minutes. Then after that, a little bit later, it will be Brandon Sesay. Um, News wise, more. We'll go back to that. What other things have stood out to you recently? I mean, it's obviously, since you and I last talked, there's been the addition of Gray TV as
Hmm.
the supplemental broadcast provider, I guess we could call them. Learned today too, John, that I know a lot of people are asking where specifically can they. I don't have Gray TV in my network in my area. Where can I watch them? Well, I was doing a little search real quickly, John. It looks like if you go to their
Hmm.
website, you can click on a local area, and if they're streaming it, they'll stream for you right off their website. So you may not have to do it on. Yeah. I know, just by the look. Um, cause I did it today at work. I did it today at work. So I mean, it was
Well,
just a matter of
that
yeah.
makes it really accessible.
Hmm. When it comes to what had been hinted at or what had been rumored, thoughts on the NFL Network, NFL Network, and NFL Plus, and Gray TV being our current broadcasters that have been announced.
Thoughts, truthfully, leaps and bounds above what we had in say 2018, 16, 17, 19, that last version of the league. While we did have a lot of streaming options, sort of like pay to play, we didn't have many live broadcasts for cable television.
Mm-hmm.
And now with the addition of the NFL Network, that's huge.
To answer, by the way, this weekend Arena Bell's question, yeah, there was one. There was, and it was a Firebirds centric theme song for the team. And I'd say I'm really dating it when I said late '80s, late '90s. So yeah, I'm still curious to see, John, when it comes to the broadcast providers, if we're going to get one for international. Obviously, NFL Network is an international entity itself, and most people will be able to see it or buy NFL Plus and watch it that way. I know myself being here where I am in Montreal, I have 2 ways to watch it if I wanted to. I could have it regular through NFL Network or DAZN, which I know was one of the things that was being rumored as of late. But I do know coming into this into the show here tonight, John, I know that there are other stuff that is supposed to be released, and we're only Tuesday. That's the plus thing. We're only Tuesday, and more things to come, obviously, when it comes to announcements, because again, we still don't know who's going to be our stats provider, even though I've heard rumors of one. We have what's going to happen with the Georgia Force. Where are they going to be playing for their supposed either 2 or 3 home games, if that is going to come to fruition. And obviously, I think we're talking about one of the things too when it came to issues that we have been noticing throughout the year are a lot of the websites that aren't currently up and running. It's a little bit hard for a fan or any fan from across the league to really get to know a team or your team more if they don't update their websites. Georgia doesn't have one. Philadelphia's is currently in its whatever state it's in, but thoughts on the current situation of the websites?
Just not great. It's actually a gripe that I have, and something we discussed briefly before the show. Rosters. Many of the team websites don't have active rosters, and that's a problem. We've got the Firebirds, and we were discussing that there is a roster on there, but it may not be entirely up to date. They do have some transactions listed, and they've got it broken down into position categories, people who will be playing Ironman, defensive backs, wide receivers, things like that.
Yeah.
But then you go on to, let's say, the Billings Outlaws website, and under their roster, looking at it right now, totally blank. It says, no players have been added to this team. And so with that being said, we need to see improvement when it comes to simple things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no, I agree. I'm hearing, let's put it this way. I put in Southwest Kansas's roster already, and my old bones forgot what it was like to enter in rosters for the very first time when most of the players aren't in the database. But they'll get there. They'll get there. I know that the league is supposed to be releasing the rosters as it is, and then we'll go from there. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen,
how are we doing?
We bring in QB1 himself, said Bonner, Coach said Bonner.
That's weird.
The Billings Outlaws. How are you, Sid? It's good to see you, bud.
TC, how you doing, man? I'm doing great. Blessed, having a good time with these young fellas. It's good.
Yeah, we were saying before at the very beginning of the show, I was telling John, last time you coached was in 2011.
Arena ball. I've been coaching high school since then.
True. But so arena ball, 2011. So,
and as an old 30-something-year-old, late 30-something-year-old playing, I felt like a coach anyway. I was always like somebody's grandpa, so I was like a coach anyway. It didn't matter.
Well, come on. Who felt older, you or Aaron Garcia?
Well, Aaron looked younger. I felt younger.
Said, I remember watching those old TNN commercials of you sitting in the stands and just doing your best imitation of Cool Said. I loved it. What was it? It was a Wilson commercial?
It was actually Sharpie. It was a Sharpie commercial.
Sharpie, that's right.
Yeah. And I mean, there was none of this going on, none of the gray stuff that you see, right? Like it was a fresh face.
Yeah, exactly. We have to know, Said. I mean, obviously, as you said, you're now the OC with the Billings Outlaws. How'd you get involved with Billings, man? Because obviously, the last time any arena football fan who knew you remembered you the most was watching you obviously doing your play-by-play and your broadcasting with Ari Wolf, or seeing you do other sports on Fox or whatever other station that was. But how did you get involved with the Billings Outlaws and coming back to the AFL?
Cedric Walker. I mean, flat out. He's been a close friend of mine since we played together in Arizona. So we've had a series of near misses in different cities and towns that it just didn't work out, right? So when the opportunity came back, and then the league that gave me so much came back, I after meeting and talking with Steve Titus, it was a no-brainer for me. Like, it was the league I love more than anything next to my family, and it was the right person at the right time with Ced Walker. So I'm excited for this thing.
What is it about because obviously, we've had some legacy cities come back to the AFL, but what is it like to have a legacy indoor football city like Billings join the AFL?
I think it means a lot. I think this town is proud of their heritage with indoor football. They've never played it AFL style, but they're definitely proud of the Outlaws, right? There's been a ton of history here, with Haran O'Neal and Dixon. I mean, there's been some guys here dominated, and they've had a few seasons where they've been able to put 6,000-7,000 seats in the stands, or butts in the stands. We want to bring it back there because this is a town that is starving for it. They want it. They've come out and showed out for practices, events we've had. So we're trying to make this town big in the arena market. They love it. It's a small, big town, right? They love it. It's something that they can call their own, and they have a history, and we're trying to improve upon that history and add to its gloried past.
Well, you were saying before about the ownership. How important is Steve Titus to not only Billings but to indoor football? Man,
I think it's huge. He's absolutely one of the smartest guys I've been around. He understands business. He understands how to make this thing grow. And the thing is, he's not too smart or too big to take and ask questions, right? If there's something he doesn't understand within the game, he's not afraid to ask questions. And that means he's a learning mind, right? And that can always grow. And it's been extremely important. The relationship with him and Cedric Walker is out of this world, right? You've got a guy that's been a lifetime arena coach. He's done just about everything you could do in this league, and he'll ask questions. And I think that's what makes it so important. He wants it to work so bad. He wants to make it right so bad, wants this thing to be what it can be and what it should be. I'm definitely in a great situation, a great spot here.
That's cool. John, anything for Ced?
Yeah, absolutely, Ced. How's it going? Been a while.
It's going well. How you been?
Excellent. Things are rolling along. I wanted to know what you can tell us about the roster, any players that we should be looking out for on the Outlaws, things like that.
Well, I don't call any of them by their first names yet till after we play the first game. Then I call them. No, I'm just kidding. We've got a tremendously young, talented team. We're still rounding in the shape, right? Young being the operative word. We're since I've been involved, we've had some tremendously talented teams back when I played. This is one of the closest teams I've been around. They're a close-knit group. They work hard together. They don't complain. They show up for work every day. It's awesome. It's awesome to watch these young men come together from different parts of the world, and that's what the best thing about arena football and pro sports, period. Guys from all over the place coming together for a common goal. If I had to give you a couple of names, Karance Higgins is going to be a player. Derek Harvey is going to be a player. We've John Whiteside. We've got some dudes that can flat out go. Joel Blankenship. We've got some guys that can really, really get going, man. And they're learning fast, and it's making my job easy because they are learning so fast.
For your when it comes to, as you said, to the game itself, these guys they're getting used to it. They're getting used to the rebound nets, because obviously, as we know, the rebound nets are one of the biggest parts of this game ever has been these days, except for, obviously, as you know, the quarterback. But when you saw them trying to get used to the game itself, any particular things that you felt at the time that they were not able to, it was taking them a little bit harder to get used to and learning than other things when it came to the arena football game?
I think spacing, right? You're a lot of these guys are right off the college field. And so you go from having all this room outdoors to pretty much playing in a hockey rink or a matchbox, right? The parameters. So before we were able to get in the arena, we're throwing out routes and guys are running out of bounds, crossing the lines, and we're like, that's not going to happen, right? You're going to flip and go over the wall. Just the parameters. Just the parameters. The wall is 1,000,000-0. It's never lost a fight. The wall. So just getting used to parameters, the quickness of the game, from the quarterback spot, just being able to get the ball out, and understanding where to take it, and for us to have really just one practice indoors with the nets. Bailey, our kicker, did a phenomenal job. He got the deuce on the opening kickoff. So reaching the net is important, right? Just all those little things. It's been a good group, and they kind of understand the confines and really got it. When they got on the field, they were like, well, it feels bigger than what we've been practicing on, right? Because we've constricted them so much, not allowing them to think they had the space to do this, to run out of bounds, to do all those things. And when you get out there and you're moving around, there's more space than you think there is. So they figured it out. It's been awesome. And, Isaac Harker is probably, a little bit ahead of Danny, because Danny's had to miss some time, but Southwick has been in the huddle helping each one of these guys. Isaac Harker doing the same thing. I got two quarterbacks that could probably go coach a team right now. They're that smart and that intelligent and understand the game and what we're trying to do. So we're in good shape. It'll be an inch-string climb, but we're up for the challenge. Our guys are ready.
Yeah, Southwick in itself, man, what a journeyman to have him on.
Yeah.
And it's funny, he's not on your staff, he's on your roster, but yet he could be on your staff. So
absolutely. But he could still spin it. The ball comes out hot when it's fun to watch. It's he can spin it, and he understands what he's looking at and what he wants to see, where he wants to go with it. We have plenty of conversations about just different things. And that's what I love when we have three quarterbacks in camp, and all three want to pick the brain. And I love it. It keeps me fresh, keeps me involved, and I love the work. So it's been awesome.
How much of you and Coach Walker gotten or loved or gotten used to again bringing, teaching these guys about the Ironman? Because I've been saying before that a lot of these new guys that haven't played it before, they're going to be gassed. But I would imagine that these guys have gotten used to it quite well. Have you and Coach Walker been able to basically say, getting them used to these new rules?
I think just understanding, right? When we first laid it out for them, just said, well, this happens. You go start the game and you come out, you can come back in. But if you come in for a sub in the first quarter, and then you come out, you can't go back in that quarter. Just those little nuances that make this game beautiful, a beautiful chess match. We've covered all the bases on it, right? And I think for our guys to really understand the amount and the kind of conditioning it's going to take to play this fast-paced game on both sides of the ball, they had to buy into that piece, and they've done that. They've conditioned extremely well daily. They're on board and up for the challenge. And that's what I love about this group.
Yeah. So you being the OC, you being a former, very well-known quarterback in your playing days in the AFL, how much of your playbook from the Arizona Rattlers did you bring forward to your play calling coming up in 2024? Obviously, without giving anything away, because we don't want to give away the sneaky stuff. But
there's really no sneaky stuff, right? It's arena football. There's only so many things you could do, right? It's just there's a little bit, but it's arena football, right? You got 3 guys running routes, and then if you want to put the running back and the tight end in play, you got 5 guys running routes, right? How do you get to those things and utilize every one of your weapons, right? Every one of your big guys that's a good athlete. How do you utilize those guys and really make a defense play honest and try and get them to cover everybody on the field, right? We want to make defenses play every inch of the turf, and that means getting everybody involved. And our guys have been excited. They've to watch big guys catch a screen or catch a pass. They've been excited for it. It's been fun. They love it. And they hear the call. You see their eyes light up because they're not used to that. They're used to blocking and blocking and blocking. And, you got to throw those guys a bone every now and again.
Exactly. John, any last comments to Coach before we let him go tonight?
Yeah, certainly. Early in the season still, week 1, games start up this Saturday, this weekend. Any matchups you're looking forward to against other teams, or is that not where your mind's at right now?
My mind's Saturday against Wichita. That's all I'm thinking about right now. I want our guys to come out and do what they've been doing all camp, which is go out and compete. We've had a very competitive camp, had a great practice today. I just want our guys to go compete, right? We're not really concerned with Oregon. We're not concerned with Rapid Cities. We're not concerned with Orlando. We're not concerned with anybody, but we're concerned with Billings and how we go out and show and how we go out and prep and get ready for each and every game that we're going to be ready to play. So this week it's Wichita. We're going to go out and play as hard as we can. We're going to keep working the rest of this week and try to get as much ahead as we can with our preparation and our work. That's where we're at right now.
So you can catch the Outlaws playing the Regulators on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern on Gray TV. Said, obviously, I'm going to be cheering for you from the sidelines, my friend. It was really good seeing you. I'm hoping somehow to get out to Billings to catch a game, just to see you do what you do. But my friend, it was really good seeing you, and I congratulations, man.
It's always a pleasure. I appreciate it. And if you give me a call, I might have word on that, Cap. So call me.
Will do, sir. Everybody, said Bonner.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, y'all.
You too.
Well, we're going to go from one legend to another. He's already waiting for us in the queue. Might as well go ahead and bring him in. Coach.
Hello. What's going on, guys?
Sesay from the Albany Firebirds. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, man, we're getting after it over here, man. Very excited. It's going to be a very interesting season, man. So we're getting ready to go.
Obviously, with the Firebirds being brought back into the Capital Region, obviously it has a long standing history on how well, what people have seen, how the Firebirds, how well they've done over the years. How did you how did they bring you back into the fold? How did they bring you into the flock?
Let me tell you what, man. God works in mysterious ways, first off, and just, perfect timing, I would say. Just coming on those latter days of my career as a player and always having a passion for coaching. Being familiar with this great organization and what they bring and what I was accustomed to, it was just only right to make that decision. And, man, I tell you what, things happen so crazy in this game, and I was able to be here. I've established so many great memories and accomplishments here, and I've made this my second home, and it's just an honor. It's a blessing to be a part of this. So now I'm just going to go with it. And, hey, man, it's all about championships around here.
Oh, exactly. I think if it put you right up there, obviously, when it comes to the arena football, the championships that they've won in the capital city there, in the capital region. Coach, obviously, we just saw recently that you finished your camp. What was it like going through camp with Coach Ware? Because we ourselves haven't seen the final rosters yet. I know the league's going to be and the teams are going to be slowly releasing them. But obviously, we know you guys have DP. But I mean, when it comes to the team itself, what did you guys see so far through camp?
Man, I would say, if I had one answer to give you, I would say focus. I would say definitely focus. Guys coming in here knowing their roles, embracing their roles, and playing at a high level. And it's always it's always a great ingredient to have, guys that know why they're here, understand why they're here, and are on the same page. And that's just to be great. And so this was a tough camp. We have had great players in here. It was not an easy camp at all. We're talking about one of the, if not the greatest coaches to be in this league and of all time, if you want to ask me. He's headed in that direction. Just how particular he is, how dialed in he is, paying attention to details, how serious he takes this, and how fired up he is about just being great, and paying attention to the little things. And that's so intriguing for me, and I'm so locked in on that because that's what type of player I am and what I've become over the years. So just working with him and getting all that knowledge, I mean, hey man, we're getting going, man. Every little thing, every little detail, respecting everyone, fearing no one kind of deal around here. So, everybody brings their lunch pail, and their hard hats every single day, and there's always room for improvement. Everybody understands that. That goes from our superstar within Darius Prince until, our rookie kid that just came in and is trying to get after it, So it's all the same. Everybody's balanced. We have a lot of balance here and understanding. So it's awesome. I can't wait to see these guys get after it, man. It's going to be kind of fun watching it these days instead of playing. But hey, that's what it's all about, So,
I will admit, Coach Ware, I did not know much about him before I started watching on and off the NAL and indoor football. He reminds me so much of a lot of the well-known head coaches in Arena Football League history. He really does. He really does. He knows the game. He seems to have that pedigree, even though he's never technically coached an AFL game before. I can only imagine how impressed not only are the people of the Capital Region going to be, but also the fans across the league itself, because I watch him on his coach's show every week, and so I just get hyped myself, Brandon, when I see him. It's like, man, I'll go to war for you. I may be 5'8" and small. I'll still go to war for you.
So, and that's what it is. I mean, this guy's so humble, and there's always room for improvement, starting with him. He's always trying to get better with whatever it is, and as far as this game is concerned, and just in life in general, and just passing those those morals down to me, myself and us young coaches now, and just showing us the way and grooming us into the great coaches we could possibly be, moving forward in life. And it's just bigger than football with him. And so it's just so many avenues that he's putting us on, for us to learn and just, get better at what we're doing and just make sure that, at the end of the day, we're getting better. So that's this whole thing. We're getting better. We're getting better.
Exactly. So, John.
So much to say. How's it been, man?
Man, it's been good, man. Good. How about you, man? How about you?
Excellent. Things are wonderful. Been a long time, from Dean Coquinos to Benji McDowell and Arena Bowl 31, all arena for you, and 3-time bowl champion.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a long time coming to get to the coaching position.
Yeah, that was always my deal, man. I mean, I would consider myself, a leader, a great leader, and did it by action. I mean, I could see like moving in my latter days, like I said, man, I was always, one of those player coaches kind of guys, and just loving the game, understanding the game. It's done so much for me and my family, and it was only right to give back. And my passion has always been coaching, so it's always been one of my things that I wanted to do. I have aspirations to doing great things with it. So I love motivating. I love leading. I love helping. I love just, watching these kids develop. I see myself in all of these guys here. And, especially those rookies and having those first years and understanding, how the levels of you, what I mean? And it's just great to be able to give that, that advice, that knowledge, that comfort most of the times, and just be able to help, So this has always been where my heart's at. And I love this game. You got to love it, to do this. And that's just what it is. It's just so much love for it, and just using what God gave me for as being a leader and just trying to help these young guys out, get them to the next level.
Would it be fair to say that the Firebirds are a new and improved version of the Empire, or is this something different? That's big for Albany fans.
I would say this, eras are eras, right? Legacies are legacies. Things happen for a reason, and I just wouldn't want to shadow that over these young guys that are out here, these guys that are preparing to go to war and try to go for a whole championship. This is the Firebirds. These are the new Firebirds, I would say. I say that with much respect from the previous teams that also played at a high level and accomplished so many great things here. And to just be a part of that legacy as well. These guys they're trailblazing on their own, and I'm just here to watch them do what they do. And I'm so great to be a part of it. So this is their team. We're just here to get them prepared and make sure they are ready to go. And, we got to sit back and, let them do what they do. This is their time. I always tell them that. I always say, hey, man, look, get all the knowledge you can from me. I can tell you everything I've learned. But at the end of the day, this is your time. This is your era. This is your legacy. You have to make it happen. So that's what I'll say about that.
Tim?
How have they been getting used to the game, Coach? Because obviously, if they come from indoor or they're coming from the gridiron game itself, you got to get used to this, this 50-yard, this weird 50-yard game that we love so much. That between the substitution rules, the nets, the Mac, Jack, linebacker out of the box, et cetera, and going both ways. How do you guys get these? How do you get these guys so used to the new game?
I'll tell you, like I said earlier, like these guys came in, dialed in. I mean, just let's talk about off season and just the preparation, starting off with Coach Ware and how he approached things as far as recruiting. We were trying. We understand that we don't want to just win. We don't win football games this season, right? We win it off straight up. We wanted to win everything. We want to win everything. So we wanted recruiting. We will say that. I'll tell you that right now. We have the top players here, guys that we had to let go, and it was tough, man. These guys could be potential starters for other teams in this league. And that's just the facts. They come in, dialed in, and everybody's locked in, and they're learning. They're picking this thing up. And that's what comes with this. And I'm glad that the league is back and is able to attract great players, great professional players, that are able to come in and really understand what's going on and really take it serious. And like I said, they all have aspirations and goals to get to the next level and doing whatever they have to do using the game of football. So these guys are serious. They're locked in. So it wasn't that hard. The hard part was some of these guys we had to let go. And it wasn't because these guys couldn't play football. That's what I'm trying to say. It was just like, golly, we got all this talent, all this future here. It's just like, man, it's hard. So that's what the hard part was. These guys are super smart players. Definitely dedicated, man, and I can't wait for the world to see them play. Honestly,
yeah, it's only so many players you could have kept on the taxi squad, right? I mean, it's too bad. It's too bad the AFL didn't implement a team AFL, like they did. You can only imagine to have a team like that and have a player pool ready like that, just in case if God forbid one of these guys do get hurt or something happens one week. I can only imagine, man. But it's for some of these rookies. What did you notice was one of the hardest things for them to get used to of the arena game?
I would say like you said, the substitutions and understanding, like, hey, I know you're a wide receiver, but you got to play a little bit of DB now. And, for us, we're blessed enough to have great athletes, like great skill guys. Like around here, we don't say offensive line, defensive line, or DB. Hey, we got skill and we got big skill. So this is definitely one of those things that I do kind of like about this situation is that we're able to highlight the fact that these athletes are literally like great football players, right? So when these guys get recruited by, major leagues such as, the NFL, CFL, whatnot, or have USFL, and name a few, just to name a few, when these guys call us, we say, hey, man, you're getting a football player, all right? You're not just getting a offensive lineman or defensive lineman, or you're getting a DB or a receiver. You're getting a football player. And it takes a lot of dedication, takes a lot of focus. and these kids kind of pick it up. But to get back to your question, I think where I'm, the substitutions and, okay, if we start off on defense, all right, you got to stay out there, play offense, and then play one more defense, and maybe you can get a chance to get off. It's kind of one of those deals. But hey, I would say that would kind of be one of those in the beginning of the training camp, kind of one of those questions that was asked.
How many of these guys are just gassed at the beginning? Because obviously they're going both ways. They're only used to going one way. I can only imagine the pounds that these guys are shedding during every practice. But did you have some of those who are like,
well, like I said, my big skill guys are definitely having a great time with that. But they're adjusting well. But like I said, that's what I said. It's all about being a great football player and having a good mind as far as a football player. You have to dial in. Is that some of these guys that went to, high schools where they had to play both sides. They had to kick that back in, that mindset back in. So that's kind of a good deal to have and be able to work with those kids. But yeah, man, they definitely came in shape. So, but now they understand like the switching of in the pace of the game, and just doing little situational things when we're in practice. Guys are like, okay, I'm like, yeah. But now, on Saturday night, it's going to be a little bit faster. You know what I mean? So,
exactly.
Yeah.
How are you and Coach Hollis meshing? I mean, it's obviously you guys are a defensive force between you two. But I mean,
this guy is going to be very, very special. Coach Hollis is going to be definitely very, very special. Small world. We played together. Obviously, won championships together. We've also played against each other in championships.
Yeah.
So we're always in the big games. And I mean, this guy he's a defensive guru. I mean, he's absolutely locked in. He's going to be one of these coaches that, like I say, just like Coach Damon Ware, that are going to be stellar in this league, and they're going to actually keep that identity and that great success that I see coming. I mean, we mesh. It's just like bread and butter, man. Like good toast and butter, man. Nice and easy. I understand him. He understands me. Obviously, he's leading our defense, and it's just beautiful, man. It's beautiful to know. I playing with him, being around him, understanding his philosophies and the way he attacks things. Very smart, intelligent man. We just coexist so great. It's kind of like he's like my brother. So it's like I know what he's thinking, he's know what I'm thinking, and it's very good. We're very transparent. I mean, it's just awesome to be able to play with your teammate, and now we are here trying to chase our dream as coaches, and we're taking it so serious, and we respect everybody in this league. But we're coming to compete, We're coming to change the game, and we're going to do it our way in the most respectful way possible. But, yeah, Coach Hollis, they better watch out.
John?
Yeah, so I'm looking at what I assume is the roster or prospective roster. We see some names on here, well recognized, dating back to AFL's 2019-2018 season. Obviously, Darius Prince. I'm seeing Philip Barnett. I'm seeing Arthur Hobbsy on here.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Sean Lockett. He's been in arena for a long time. Even looks like Nick Hague too.
Absolutely.
Anyone on the roster that we should be sort of like on the lookout for, that you see some spark in, maybe a future star?
Absolutely. First off, all those names that you just mentioned, these guys are. I mean, we can talk about this all night, right? These guys are definitely one of your locker room, if you will, as far as being good veterans and understanding, at hand what it takes to actually win championships. These are previous champions you're talking about, playing in the big games, and definitely bring leadership and bring that pace of, that championship pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the player that I would say that we all should be looking at in this league coming up, is I have to say it, is Trayvon Shorts. He was a former Ironman in the NAL, plays fullback and jack linebacker. And when I say he's a dog, he's a dog. You know what I mean? He's getting after it. So, mark my words, you'll be seeing a lot of him. His development and what he's done in these past couple of years is just unbelievable. He's a two-time champ. He knows what it takes. He's been around me a little bit. He's had that championship pedigree instilled, and he's just he's just a dog, y'all. You know what I mean? I can't.
Yeah.
He, number one, Shorts. Just look at him, and you guys will get back with me. Let's get back and check in. Just say, hey, coach, you know what you're talking about. Go look.
Obviously, huge. You guys are going to be on a huge stage this week. You guys are going to be the premier game on the NFL Network.
Sure.
They're having obviously the Firebirds and Arena Football are back in Albany for the first time since 2019. You got the Hall of Fame stuff that's going on this weekend too. I mean, how are you able to keep your football mindset, Coach? I mean, because I don't know what you do to in your off time and stuff like that, but and I'm sure when it comes to football, you stay focused. But this type of thing with all this pomp and circumstance, how do you make sure that you don't that it gets into your head and that it doesn't get into the player's head?
Yes, great question. And this is just about just player development, right? As being a pro, it's like, okay, now you're on this big stage. At the end of the day, we all have a job to do, and it's a lot at stake, right? And it's just not. I mean, this is just what comes with being a professional football player. You have all of these, you quote me on this, distractions, I guess, pertaining to what we have to get down and dialed in, excuse me. And that's what, it goes back to recruiting. What kind of guys you have in your locker room, your leadership, and everything that happens, it should all trickle down. And like I say, we have a stellar group. These guys are all dialed in, and I don't think that'll matter at all. These guys are very hungry. They're starving, all right, for success, all right? They're starving for success. And that's like not even just, winning ball games, but just every single day getting better. Whether it's, maybe I need to get my hands more inside when I'm blocking, or maybe I need to get my get off, maybe check my pad level, or, maybe I should look that ball in a little bit more, or getting my spacing right, as far as being a defensive back. All these things that matter in the game. So all the guys going to be a little bit nervous. If they're not, they should quit, Stop playing. That's what I always say, But do I think they'll be focused and understand what's at stake? Yes. And setting the tone for the season. And the main thing about it is being consistent.
Yeah,
so
I got a question here for Coach from Dave Williams. You'll see him many times in the stands, by the way, this year in Albany. He's curious to know how many practices will the Firebirds actually have on the MVP Arena turf before the game on Saturday?
Oh, great question. So obviously, being in the arena football, and especially at the MVP, it's always something going on. So being a balance, we also have another practice facility that we go to, and it's the junior college out there, Hudson Valley Community College, that we use their indoor facilities. So that's a blessing. But we will be here for 2 more days. We will have to be out and then come back for a walkthrough on Friday. And, they have a show on Friday night and then Saturday.
Boy.
So it's a beautiful deal. But, like I said, the guys are locked in to focus. Us coaches are also locked in to focus, and we know what we have to do. So,
yeah.
How
does Marco Roscoe able to do it then? Because if he's not kicking, if anybody knows about Marco Roscoe, he knows how to kick the deuces. I mean, he is very well in the NAL. He was I need to be kosher here. He was good. He was good. Yeah. Then that's what I was asking you when it came to, and Dave's question is like, how are these guys able to get used to the whole thing? Because you guys don't have temporary boards at your outdoor facility, do you? Or do you have the photo?
Yes, we have boards and everything there. We have the good space in there as well. Yes, we do. But far as just having the height and everything, far as the kicks and everything like that, no, we don't have that luxury. But however, like I said, we have professionals, man. I'm telling you, man, he's just a great guy. Like we're saying, he's a super professional. And like today, he got some kicks off today. Obviously, it looked like he missed a step. He's all good. He's getting after it. So, and he can get outside sometime and get some kicks in as well, just to get the leg going. But like I said, we're getting a lot of work. This week, as far as special teams and all that stuff. We got a lot of work in today.
Yeah, exactly. John, any last questions for Coach before we let him go?
Just thinking of kickers, man. I miss me some Mark Lewis trick shots.
Oh man, yes.
Man, I saw him out there in Orlando when I was down there, man. He's still, I thought he could still get after us. Hey, man, what are you doing? Come on, you here? You signing?
I've always said that he should be up here in the CFL. I'm like, give the dude a shot.
Man,
Just give the dude a shot.
Yeah. It's cost me some play.
Coach, you guys will be on the NFL Network. Premier game on the NFL Network on Saturday at 8 p.m. versus the hated Orlando Predators. Is the coming up on the 25th anniversary of the Arena Bowl 13 championship that was won versus Orlando. Coach, ball out, man. I'll be there. I'll make sure I come in and say hello to you when I get there to Albany. But we're looking for a great time, and I hope you guys represent the league well on NFL Network this Saturday.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I love it. I love being on the show. I will definitely be tuning in and chiming in here and there. And yeah, can't wait till you come down here and visit the Nest, man. We'd love to have you, man, and show you how it's done around here. Show you the champ way.
Yeah, sounds good. Coach Brandon Sesay, everybody. Coach,
right.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right, no doubt.
Oh, man. First to say, pulled it off. That's going to be great. That's going to be, just having these two guys on with such a pedigree in the AFL game and just seeing how they've been able to basically flip a switch, use their knowledge, and switch over to being coaches in the AFL. And I've said it before already. I mean, you got 10 head coaches right now in the AFL who have played or have been former head coaches. They have, experience in the AFL. And then the coaching staffs, which I know we've mentioned before too. The coaching, man, I am so hyped. All these small issues aside that we've seen, John, I am really hyped to see how these games come off starting this weekend.
I'm going to try and watch as many games as I possibly can because I am excited to have the AFL back.
Yeah. One of the things we weren't able to talk about at the very beginning of the show before the guys came in was this very interesting podcast that was released by the president and owner of the Arizona Bandits. He was on a local podcast there over in Arizona. Spent 30 minutes with the host, and they were talking about what seems to be almost a foregone conclusion that the Arena Football League will be in the East Valley in 2025. I don't know how much of you actually saw of it, John, or if you saw bits and pieces of it, but what were your reaction when you saw this interview? Because it was, for a team that was supposed to come in. And he told the entire story, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it is out on socials. We did tweet it out over at Arena Fan on our Facebook page and over at X. What was your thought on this interview?
Well, I'm going to echo a few things that I've read on the Arena Fan message boards here, which often has some naysayers. I will admit that. We've got a lot of critical, long history AFL fans on our message boards, but I'm curious as to the comments on building their own arena and how we've seen just in recent days the Arizona Coyotes now relocating to Utah, and how we already have who do we have? We already have the Rattlers, and we've got the Sugar Skulls in Arizona. So I've got a little worry about that interview because of a potential lack of fan base. That if we can't already have thousands of fans interested in the Rattlers or the Sugar Skulls, why are they now going to be interested in a potential future AFL team in Arizona? Are these going to be die-hard AFL fans, or are these going to be indoor fans that now have a third team in their state?
It's true. I saw it too. And first, building their own arena, that was a surprise to me. They're being very secretive about this, and I kind of understand why. But man, their president just dropped some very subtle hints, I will admit. But I think one of the biggest things that may come out of it, and which may give us a good gauge, John, is what he stated, and I guess it will be announced by the league, or it will be announced by them next week, because I know they said that some announcements were going to be made, is that they're going to be playing one of the postseason games in Arizona at this said arena that they're going to be playing at. Not the new one that they're talking about, but at wherever they're going to be playing for, at least for 2025 and 2026, I think they said. But I think that'll be a good gauge. I think that'll be a good gauge of how much support this new AFL franchise will get. But it's, as I said, I don't know how far Prescott is from Phoenix. But it kind of, this kind of reminds me of the situation when you have the Devils, the Rangers, and the Islanders. They are somewhat in a close-ish knit area. Now I know the Islanders are really the farthest away. I get that, but that kind of gives me the vibes too of this type of thing. The Cubs and the White Sox as an example. We can use the Toronto Blue Jays and the Buffalo Sabres. They're basically in their own area. I'm curious to see what happens, because they seem like they know what they're doing. Obviously, he was going to be in California, decided not to. What's your thought on that, by the way? It actually goes back to what we've heard quite a while in the earlier days before the league, when the league was just announced, that the workman's comp may see an end of minor pro sports in the state of California.
That's a nightmare topic, Tim. Why are you doing this to me? We know how bad workman's comp is in California for sports. It's one of the reasons why the AFL filed for bankruptcy at the end of 2019 and beginning of 2020. If we could see that removed, the laws changed, things modified, then that would be great for sports overall. And to answer the question you had, Phoenix, that's 99 miles.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got a question here too from This Week in Arena Ball. They're building it in Prescott? No, they're building it, this new arena that they were talking about. They're going to be building it in the East Valley in Phoenix. So I don't. That's all I know. I just said, go listen to the conversation. It's well worth the 30 minutes, because he does drop some pretty good nuggets. So, looking at, obviously we got the schedule coming up, and we got so many new names. As you and I, as alums of the AFL, we're basically trying to get caught up after 5 years, and a lot of these players that we didn't know about. Yeah. As a returning fan for the Arena Football League, how interested are you in seeing some of these guys actually become stars this season?
Oh, very. And I'm certain that once we see these rosters and once we watch these games and see these players on the field, that we'll certainly recognize some of their pedigree from other leagues, albeit maybe the NAL, the IFL, some sort of indoor league. I'm sure some of the guys from those other leagues have taken a step up into the AFL, and it'll be fun, especially considering that Arena Fan's bringing the fantasy back. So being able to tinker and toy with updated rosters and new players and trying to score the most on our website will be fun.
Yeah, I've actually heard rumblings, and this is just a small rumbling, that it's very possible that there may be an official fantasy game for the league. If I hear more, I'll make sure I do put that out on social media. But yes, if you haven't already, all 3 games of our Arena Fantasy Pick'em are back. Arena Fan was the first site to host and to have any type of arena football of AFL fantasy when we brought it back in the early days of Arena Fan. Head over to arenafan.com, sign up, check out the message boards, check out obviously the fantasy. And stay tuned because there's gonna be a whole much more. And once we get those rosters into the database, box scores, et cetera, should be fun. I'm trying to think anything else this week that we haven't covered in past shows that you can think of as a topic here real quickly.
Yeah. I mean, you brought it up briefly, but the relocation for the Voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite the drama behind that, and I'm not sure I entirely understand what happened. Do you have anything to expand upon that
The
can
only
be discussed?
Yeah, I'd see a lot of the stuff I haven't been able to confirm yet. There seemed to be a falling. I'll just say there was a falling out. The only thing I'll say is I don't know the statement that was put out by the arena management company. I don't. You know, they say teams. You see a team on paper looks good, but paper burns. I'll leave it. I'll leave it as like that because. But the main thing is that they got a home. It wasn't. Obviously, it wasn't the best thing that they did it a week prior, but at least they did have an arena in place. And to me, honestly, John, that just goes to show as much flack as Commissioner Hutton and the Travell Gaines get for what they do, people think that they do or don't know, which you and I both know the opposite, is that this contingency plan was already in place just in case. You can't tell me that if a team did not pay their bills, that they would be allowed to play in Lafayette and bring in, somebody claimed it was anywhere between 250 to X, whatever it was for the new turf system. I can't see that happening if they had not paid anything over in Lake Charles. But again, as I said, I'm just hoping that we can get away from the drama and start the season. Let's see some positive stuff. There's some things that I'm not comfortable with, a la the dasher boards in Washington. I want to see how some of these rebound nets are set up in some of these smaller arenas, a la Washington over in Salem. Yeah, there's still a lot of questions, and it's funny. Even going into week 1, there's still a lot of questions. But I think that let's just get through this sprint and see how it goes. I expect all 16 teams to finish the season, and we'll see what happens after the Arena Bowl in the off season. So, real quickly, I'm just curious to see who you think, John, who teams that stand out to you that may be the front runners for the Arena Bowl championship. I want to remind everybody that we are on social media. You can find us over on Twitter or X at ArenaFan. You can find us over on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram, and you can also find us here on YouTube. All the past episodes, or most of the past episodes, are even some of the old stuff is still available over on all of your podcast hosts, and all of our videos are hosted on YouTube. You will see anything else when in the archives currently that's over there, and that is at / I think it's Arena Fan Online on YouTube. I'll remind everybody also that if you are looking for some throwback merch, we have partnered with Royal Retros, where if you use the code ArenaFan at checkout, you will save 10% off your entire order. John, I know you've gone over there. I've gone over there. The stuff that Dustin over there currently has over there, man, some of that new throwback merch is just sweet, man. And they are an official partner, official producer, what do you want to call it? They're all in the up and up because they've actually signed a contract with the Arena Football League. So all that throwback merch there is officially recognized by the Arena Football League. But as I said,
and licensed. Yes.
That New Orleans Knight jersey, that thing is sweet. Zubaz, I got to get me one. I got to get me one of those. But again, use the code ArenaFan at checkout to save 10% off. Just head over to royalretros.com. So, and it's really hard. And you and I really haven't seen much of the rosters itself. We know what we've seen in Albany. We've seen, I think, so far Southwest Kansas, the one that is currently on the website over at ArenaFan. If you were to give your top, I was just say, just give me your top 4 teams that you've seen that have made an impression on you.
I'm going to go 5.
Okay.
I'm going to go Firebirds.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a given. I'm going to go Minnesota Myth. I'm going to go Orlando Predators. I'm going to go with Billings Outlaws. I'm going to take Sed's word for it. And I think Iowa Rampage possibly too. Might be a little bit of a sleeper there.
Interesting.
I'm
going Albany and Nashville. I just love what Nashville has done. I'm going to see if I can get over my Kokkinos-itis. I want to see how he does. Because, dude, he hasn't had a winning regular season in the AFL as a head coach. I'll just leave it at that. I'm looking for him to
got the Dean Kokkinos signature right here.
There you go.
First ever official game.
Let's go. Let's make it worth something someday.
Yes.
I'm also going to go with the West Texas Desert Hawks. Coach Siegfried. I just have been impressed from what he's done there in West Texas. And he has some history. He's had some coaching history in arena football. So I think he's going to do a good job there. And as far as my 4th team, well, you said 5. I'm going to go with Billings also. I like what they've done there in Billings. They're on one of my teams just outside of the list. I'm saying Rapid City because their ownership group seems to be doing everything that they can there. But I'm also gonna throw in the Orlando Predators. So it's don't know who's going to make it to Arena Bowl, who's going to be representing the league in what we're most likely thinking is going to be Minneapolis at the Target Center. But obviously those are more announcements that we're waiting for the league to make as the year goes on. John, I want to obviously welcome you back, buddy. I know I was on the fence about resurrecting the podcast, but I think considering how well it went this episode, I think we, just like everybody else in the Arena Football League and every player on those teams, I think we can do that 10-week sprint. So we'll be back. That's one thing I can tell you guys. Yes. We will be back. So
I say we aim high.
There we go. And we I think we pulled it off tonight, man. I think we really did. I want to thank Coach Sed Bonner and Coach Brandon Sesay for joining us on this episode of AFL Rewind. Again, make sure you check all the action out this week, whether it be on Gray TV, your local local sports providers, or on the NFL Network or NFL Plus. There's a lot of games to going. Think about it. You have 30 games on the NFL Network this year. 30 games at 3 a week. What a time to be living for football, for the Arena Football League. So, John, I will talk to you soon, and we will see you next week as we talk about what happened in the AFL in Week 1. So, for everybody here at AFL Rewind, for John Stark, I'm Tim Capper. Watch the rebound off the net.